In a matter of hours, those in Salt Lake County will follow a new stay-home order. Why the mayor is doubling down on the governor's directive.
And a titan of Utah politics and business has died from COVID-19. A look back at the life of Bob Garf and how loved ones are remembering him.
Plus, protecting those on the front lines with the help from 3D printers. The unique request from police.
Live from Fox 13 Studios, this is Fox 13 News at 9.
For the second day in a row, the number of confirmed COVID-19 cases in Utah jumped by more than 100. There are now 719 people who have tested positive. Nearly 14,000 people who have tested have been roughly 96% of those coming back negative. The state is confirming 2 deaths. Now we're learning of 2 more deaths here in Utah not shown in the state's latest report.
And we will get to those in just a moment. But first, a big impact to businesses as Salt Lake County issues a new public order, this mimicking the directive made by Governor Gary Herbert on Friday.
Tonight, Fox 13's Elle Thomas shows us how this order is different. She joins us live. Elle?
Yeah, hey, Brian and Kirsten. So this is called Salt Lake County Stay Safe, Stay Home. Basically, it categorizes which businesses need to do what, and it is mandated by law. So the Gateway is a good example of this. We have a lot of places like Discovery Gateway, Planetarium that need to be completely closed in our red zone. Grocery stores that can stay open, and of course, lots of restaurants that fall into the yellow, open with restrictions. Nowadays, you'll find few people walking down Salt Lake City streets. You'll find even more closed businesses as residents and shop owners do their part to help stop the spread of COVID-19.
This is the biggest community challenge we will face.
Despite sparse streets, the virus continues to spread.
As of 2 o'clock today, we have 330 cases in Salt Lake County. We are doubling our number of cases every 3 to 5 days.
Prompting the Salt Lake County Mayor and Health Department to enforce new measures. This is Salt Lake County Stay Safe, Stay Home.
We act, we will save lives. We know that.
A new order mandating which businesses need to close, which can stay open with restrictions, and which are considered essential.
We're asking law enforcement in the various jurisdictions throughout our county to politely ask people to break up a small gathering.
However, that doesn't mean you can't get in trouble. So-called egregious gatherings can result in fines, even a misdemeanor.
We cannot mandate behavior. We can ask for it, we can mandate it by law, but people have to make the smart personal choice for themselves, their friends, and their families.
Compliance for a brighter future.
We know that this virus is aggressive and every day matters. So if we are to comply now, if people take this seriously, do as this order mandates, we will save lives.
The order will go into effect tonight at midnight, and it's going to stay that way until April 14th. You can, of course, find this entire chart and the breakdown on our website. Live in Salt Lake City, Elle Thomas, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Some good clarification there, Elle. Thank you. And we're following a developing and somber story out of West Jordan tonight. Family members say Sylvia Melendez died from COVID-19. The 24-year-old contracted the virus earlier this month. Now, the Salt Lake Tribune reporting 5 members of her family were also infected. This latest death is not yet shown in the state's reports.
A giant in the world of business and politics in Utah has died from COVID-19 at the age of 77. Bob Garf, along with his wife, tested positive after driving back from a trip to Palm Springs, California. They self-quarantined, but symptoms escalated. Bob was hospitalized and then passed away. Here's Fox 13's Bob Evans.
Bob Garf was considered a titan of business in Utah. He had taken over the Garf Automotive Group from his father, Ken, at his passing, and served in the Utah legislature from 1985 to 1987 as House Speaker. But he really made his mark in the 2002 Olympics when he helped to get those Olympics back on their feet after it had been scandal-ridden for months. In fact, as he served with not only Mitt Romney, who is now a senator, but also with Governor Mike Leavitt, who had high regard for Bob Garf's leadership abilities.
He was a man of great character and helped in ways that went well beyond the scope of his own business. His service in the House of Representatives as the Speaker of the House and his service as the chairman of the Winter Olympic Committee at a difficult time Those are good indications. Those are good examples of the way his service extended.
We have seen political leaders, we have seen business leaders, we have seen entertainers all come down with COVID-19. And former Governor Mike Leavitt underscores the fact that the coronavirus doesn't care who you are.
Well, it's evident that the coronavirus, COVID-19, is no respecter of persons. That is to say, the most prominent of us have the same degree of vulnerability, particularly those that are of a particular age, over 70, and I think Bob was, and I don't know about his health conditions, so I can't speak to that. But we all need to be careful and do the best we can to wash our hands, to do the basics that are important to our hygiene and to our health.
Utah Senator Mitt Romney served very closely with Bob Garf as they both worked to rescue the 2002 Winter Games. Senator Romney had this to say this afternoon: "The scandal that surrounded the games could have overwhelmed our collective commitment, but Bob's genuine goodness, clear-eyed optimism, and can-do management experience helped to reignite our confidence and community spirit." Funeral services have yet to be announced, but we will keep you posted on them. Bob Evans, Fox 13 News, Utah.
A big loss for Utah. And as the death toll continues to climb across the country, Fox 13's Spencer Joseph shows us if Utah hospitals are ready to handle a surge in COVID-19 cases.
Hospitals in New York and California are struggling to handle the surge of COVID-19 cases. So how would Utah be able to handle a similar surge?
We've all been hearing the national news that the next couple of weeks will tell.
Dr. Sundwald is the former state director of public health. He has also been on the forefront of the state's preparation for pandemics.
That gave us a bit of a leg up in anticipating this one. One of those areas was one you mentioned, and that's the importance of having surge capacity.
Utah currently has about 700 intensive care unit beds and about 5,800 hospital beds. Nate Carlisle and Aaron Alberti from the Salt Lake Tribune are looking at how those beds would fill up.
It's not just the infection rate. The issue is how many people require hospitalization and how many hospital beds we have.
Assuming the virus spreads slowly over 18 months, if 1 in 5 Utahns are affected, likely our ICU beds would be overrun, but not our hospitals. If 2 in 5 are affected, both would be overrun, and if 3 in 5 are affected, both would also be overrun. This is assuming a 20% hospitalization rate, but a little bit of good news. Right now, Utah is only seeing about 10.
A lot of states are seeing 20%. And so we're better than the curve there.
If the virus spreads much faster, we would see our beds overrun if 20% or more are infected. When the peak hits is a concern, but it's not just about when, but where.
In Moab, there's no ICU beds. So Utah could be on a downtrend by the time Moab has a cluster. We could wind up with a lot of deaths in southeast Utah.
Hospitals around the state are, however, working to build new facilities for care of individuals with COVID-19. The main takeaway, flattening the curve by social distancing and staying home will make all the difference.
I mean, as everyone says, this is absolutely new territory for us. We're rewriting history or writing a new chapter.
Spencer Joseph, Fox 13 News, Utah.
So many on the front lines of the COVID-19 pandemic need protection. That is one reason why masks are in short supply.
Fox 13's John Franke shows us how a little technology mixed with a lot of community support is helping those in Utah County.
With coronavirus so contagious and it seems all around us, first responders find themselves on the front lines of this safety scare. The Provo Police Department, like so many others, is taking precautions to keep officers safe, and they're getting an assist from the community.
We've had hundreds of people reach out to us.
This is the tweet that inspired that response. Provo Police asking anyone with a 3D printer to make masks.
It's not perfect, but it is an alternative to the shortage that we're experiencing.
The department shared these photos of their own printer hard at work, but it churns out just one mask every 2.5 hours. They need more than 500. This is where the community steps in.
I feel we're very fortunate here, particularly in Provo, to have such a supportive community.
The department linked to the blueprint. It didn't take much time for donations to pour in.
I am amazed at the amount of outreach that we've received from really not even just our community, but from people all over.
Brett Wells of Salt Lake City turned on his printers.
I've got 2 3D printers. I got one in the other room.
He made stacks of masks.
They are just about done.
These will protect the Provo Police Department, Fire Department, and Utah County Sheriff's Office.
We can use an N95 mask and cut it into 5 separate pieces and can be inserted into this 3D mask.
That's what makes these so valuable. Each of those N95 masks that are impossible to find can be cut up and used to protect 5 people instead of 1.
So that really stretches the number of masks that we can utilize.
Thanks to so many willing to pitch in, first responders will have the protection they need.
I'm gone. I'm printing 4 more.
These might not be the best of times.
It is very trying, which is even more reason for people to unify.
But it's times like these that can bring out the best in all of us.
I'm speechless to the amount of generosity that we've experienced.
Provo Police will have staffing outside their station in downtown Provo to collect donations from 9 to 5 on Monday. In the newsroom, Sean Franke, Fox 13 News, Utah.
A lot of wonderful and giving people here in Utah. And for the latest on COVID-19 here in our state, head over to fox13now.com. And that's where you can check out our live blog. You can get updates on case numbers by using that COVID-19 tracker, or you can find stories by clicking on the coronavirus tab.
On Utah's Capitol Hill, Governor Gary Herbert signed over 150 bills into law this weekend.
And here is a look at some of the bigger ones, starting with a controversial bill. All elective abortions, except for cases of rape, incest, or health of the mother, would be outlawed. However, this would only go into effect if Roe v. Wade ever gets overturned by the Supreme Court.
Polygamy has essentially been decriminalized under another bill signed into law. The new law makes bigamy among consenting adults an infraction, similar to a traffic ticket. But crimes like fraud, abuse, or child bride marriages would be increased to felonies due to bigamy.
And another bill has been signed into law, ending the back and forth of daylight saving time. So under Taylorsville Senator Wayne Harper's bill, Utah springs ahead and we stay there. But we have to wait for Congress to approve it and other states to join us.
And you'll soon be able to join a Wine of the Month club in Utah, but only if you're willing to pay for it. There's a big catch. You have to go through the DABC and pay cost plus 88% markup. You can also now bring a case of wine or 9 liters of alcohol from out of state into Utah without penalty. For a full breakdown of all the bills signed by the governor thus far, head to our website, fox13now.com. Still to come on Fox 13 News at 9, some say they're the backbone of helping feeding Americans, but COVID-19 is making some big impacts on the local trucking industry. See how CR England is protecting its drivers.
I think they were a little disappointed for sure, as any teenage girl would.
And it's not the theme anyone was expecting. We'll take you to a Utah family's quarantine prom.
And a few isolated, lingering rain showers still across northern Utah. Well, those showers are moving away. How long will they stay away? I'll let you know after the break.
Live from Fox 13 Studios, this is Fox 13 News at 9.
A crash at a tracks crossing in South Salt Lake sent 8 people to several hospitals this afternoon.
5 of them are in critical condition tonight. That crash happening at the tracks crossing at 3300 South at 210 West. The collision derailed the train, but no one on board was injured. This is still under investigation.
COVID-19 has also made an impact on the local trucking industry. We spoke with one of the co-owners of CR England. He says rest stops are now harder to come by, and they are supplying drivers with cleaning materials, gloves, and hand sanitizers to stay safe.
And also a lot of our partners out there, truck stop chains and other groups, are working really hard to protect our drivers as well, maintaining social distancing, providing services right to our drivers' trucks. And a lot of restaurants and drive-thrus have stayed open and allowed truckers to walk up to their windows.
CR England says despite all of the closures, business is booming and they are in demand for more freight and more loads now than the past few months combined.
It's a tough time for many of us, and Fox 13 News wants to help spread the word about those local businesses that are still open during this COVID-19 pandemic. Now, not only is Saffron Valley open and delicious, but they are offering free meals to medical workers. It's all part of the restaurant's Keep Calm and Curry On program. The offer is available for curbside pickup, and all the workers need to do is show their medical professional ID card.
Last week, we thought there was so much doom and gloom in this world and in our state that we wanted to do something positive that would help motivate our employees as well as our way of giving back to the community.
Those free meals will be available as supplies last. And of course, to see businesses still operating during the COVID-19 pandemic, head over to fox13now.com and click on the We're Open Utah tab. If you own a business, use the contact form to share your story with us.
Well, stay safe, stay home. Perhaps a little easier done now with rain perhaps coming this week, Brack?
For now, that's the case, but we'll have a little bit of a temptation in that we're going to see some sunnier weather as well as warmer temperatures. But throughout Thursday, Friday into the weekend, we kept the snow going, at least across the mountains. Sharing a photo coming in from Michael Bowman up in Big Cottonwood Canyon. Said he was tracking in 22 inches of snow. A lot of fresh snow. Many of you heading up there enjoying some backcountry activities. Of course, trying to be safe as we've had a little bit of an avalanche concern. And guess what? At least across some of the mountains of northern Utah, it will continue to pile up just a little bit. At least one spot we're going to see some significant snow. But let's take a look at today, as we did bring in some rain showers throughout the afternoon across the Wasatch Front. Temperatures a little bit warmer today, getting up to 54 degrees. On average, we should be in the upper 50s. And looking across the state with high temperatures, as we did have clouds and some spotty showers across the state, still keeping temperatures, at least through southern Utah, a little cooler. Highs only getting up into the upper 50s in St. George. We topped off at 50 degrees in Cedar City, as well as 50 degrees in Vernal, upper 40s in Price. But all in all, statewide, we're on a slow warming trend as we progress throughout the week. But right now, we're hanging on to the clouds. As you can see from radar, a few just isolated showers south central Utah. Along the Wasatch Front, we have been seeing some improvements, even though we can still see maybe a brief shower tracking through the Salt Lake Valley, northern Utah County. Notice the blue over the higher terrain. Snow showers still in effect, where we're going to see some light snow overnight. Drier air beginning to make its move, though, towards the state. And for some of us tomorrow, that means we're going to see that sunshine as this low pressure system moves away. We look upstream, we do have another cold front, which for extreme northern Utah, that will keep the possibility with some instability and a little lingering moisture with showers in effect that could last all the way up through Tuesday. So that's what we're looking at. Improvements as we go in central and southern Utah, but for the north, we'll still find a possibility of some rain in the valley, snow in the mountains. Now, how much snow are we talking about? Well, as we look over the next 48 hours, not so much as we go from tonight through tomorrow evening. It's the transition from Monday evening into Tuesday. We can see extreme northern Utah as you go up through Logan Canyon. We could be picking up an additional foot of snow or even more than that. Cottonwood Canyon's more in the range between 2 to 4 inches, potentially upwards of 5 inches, and a little bit of snow up in Park City as well. So again, we're not done seeing the snow, at least for the mountains, but I think for the valleys, we should be winding things down, at least as we look at this week. We can never rule out that we possibly can see snow in April and sometimes even in May. But let's look across the state computer models, what they're indicating, what they're doing with this storm. I mentioned that drier air pushing through that allows for clear conditions central and southern eastern Utah tomorrow. Lingering light snow showers across the mountains of northern Utah. And then I mentioned that cold front. You can see it brushes by extreme northern Utah as we go into Tuesday. Thus you see all that blue. That's why we're saying once you look from Ogden Valley and moving up towards Cache Valley into Logan Canyon, we're going to see that snow in effect, and we'll keep the showers confined to extreme northern Utah, brushing by portions of the Wasatch Front, but we decrease the chances here as we go from Monday, Tuesday, and into Wednesday. Thursday. Now tonight, we're looking at 30s for overnight lows for many spots, maybe a brief shower tomorrow. It's cloudy skies across the north, clear conditions across the south. That will allow temperatures to increase as we're back close to 60 degrees in Cedar City and mid-60s in St. George. And we continue to climb. Mid-70s by Wednesday, a little dip on Thursday, but for the weekend, it looks still really nice with temperatures climbing to the low 70s. Now for northern Utah, we'll keep temperatures close to average except for Thursday. Cooler, a shower on Tuesday, maybe one Friday night through Saturday, but the weekend looks to be good as temperatures, once we get beyond next weekend, potentially could get up to 60 degrees.
Still ahead tonight with a new directive to stay safe from COVID-19 from the governor of Utah brings changes when it comes to state parks. What you need to know before you head outdoors.
We just have the thought, well, I'll take him to prom.
A teenage dream crushed. How this dad saved a prom during a pandemic.
You're watching Fox 13 News. Let's connect.
Stay safe, stay home, unless you need some social distancing and fresh air, right? A part of Governor Gary Herbert's directive, Utah state parks remain open, but only to certain visitors.
Gunlock has waterfalls going currently, which happens on some springs, and that's kind of been the perfect storm.
It's the time of year where Washington County can flood. Not just overflow from Gunlock Reservoir, but with people.
It's a great way to get out and get some fresh air and have some social distance that you can't get in your living room.
Governor Gary Herbert announced the Stay Safe, Stay Home directive. With it, you're allowed to visit state parks, but only those parks that are in the same county you reside in.
Generally, we see visitors from all along the Wasatch Front, but right now we're just mainly seeing folks from Davis County.
There are roughly 45 state parks in the state of Utah. Antelope Island has been one of the busy ones.
We're all kind of stretched pretty thin right now, trying to do, a really busy gate and a really busy park with about 10 employees.
In the last few weeks, Antelope Island saw days with over 2,000 carloads entering the gate.
If you're used to kind of going to a certain place that you've been asked not to go to right now, that there's an opportunity for you to discover new gems in your own county, in your own neighborhood.
Well, in-county residents are asked to use an honor code of sorts when visiting parks. The message from employees: continue to keep your distance from others while recreating, and be patient if you experience a longer than normal wait to get into the park.
Parents are truly superheroes, but this Riverton dad doesn't wear a cape. Instead, he wore a tux to save the day and a date for his teenage daughters.
We know you don't have any plans tonight, but will you go to the prom with me?
A sweet treat after bitter news. COVID-19 forcing Riverton High School to cancel prom.
I think they were a little disappointed for sure, as any teenage girl would.
So replacing disappointment with donuts.
We just had the thought, well, I'll take him to prom.
Jeremy dug out his old tux.
It was sitting in my closet for years and years, and I'd forgotten about it.
While his daughters dolled up in the dresses they picked out weeks ago. When Jeremy first saw Haley and Tessa as they answered the door.
I love my girls. They're just beautiful no matter what, but especially last night. They were just awesome to be around, and they are just beautiful, and I'm a lucky guy to have such beautiful daughters.
Flowers and a photo shoot on the porch kicked off the night, then a drive-through dinner and skee ball in the basement. Meanwhile, Jeremy's youngest girls were busy turning the living room into a ballroom for the quarantine prom.
We just had a dance and a party and laughed and had fun for the evening.
Even though Haley and Tessa's milestone event was canceled.
I'm sure they'll remember it for a while. I know I will. I'll always cherish that moment as a dad.
A precious moment of a prom during a pandemic.
There's so many things you can do just in the walls of your own home that can, make a memory like this that they'll remember for the rest of their lives.
Of course, this is just one powerful example of the incredible way Utah parents are trying to make these tough times a little easier for their children.
Awesome story. You go, Dad. Still to come, a college student turning his passion for the outdoors into a booming business. Hear about the local competitions that are adding about 30 grand to his company.
And we're going to show you how RSL is helping protect victims of domestic violence during this COVID-19 pandemic. Several big announcements made this afternoon regarding the federal response to COVID-19.
President Donald Trump says he's extending social distancing guidelines for another month. Other big announcements pertain to potential approval of sterilization of masks, FEMA building hospitals in New Jersey, New York, and Louisiana, and the FDA working on allowing blood-related therapy for COVID-19 patients.
That your selfless, inspiring, and valiant efforts are saving countless lives. You are making the difference. The modeling estimates that the peak in death rate is likely to hit in 2 weeks.
The president hopes the country will be in a state of recovery by June and admits his hope of an Easter reopening was premature.
New at 9, Salt Lake police say they are seeing a rise in domestic violence calls during the self-quarantine. Fox 13's Kelly Chapman shows us how RSL is stepping up to help victims get the support they need.
Whether it's from people being quarantined together or what it is, maybe just the general anxiety going on in our world right now causing some of this stuff going on. But yeah, we have seen some pretty violent cases.
Salt Lake police say the number of domestic violence calls over the past 2 weeks has gone up by 33%.
We know that when you have these types of crises and the pandemics, the pressure on the families is so strong.
With the rise in cases, the Utah Domestic Violence Shelter went to the RSL Foundation, CAPSA, and Deloy Hansen Family Foundation to help them find more space for survivors.
So we needed to get this place up and running quicker than we expected, about a month sooner, so that we could put those families into this home that didn't have a place to stay or they were felt unsafe.
This newly renovated fourplex opened earlier this week and is already helping families in need.
The contractors worked late nights getting it ready, and we are able to open it today.
The countertops just went in, I think, 5 minutes ago, but it is ready for occupancy.
Shelter staff say homes like these are important for families to heal and for survivors to rebuild their lives while maintaining social distancing.
This feels like such a miracle and such a blessing at the most perfect time that we needed it.
Police across the state are asking neighbors and family to watch for any signs of domestic violence. If you find yourself in an emergency, please call 911. Otherwise, the National Domestic Violence Hotline is 1-800-799-SAFE. That's 7233. And the Utah Domestic Violence Coalition can be reached at 1-800-897-5465.
I love the opportunity to know we're giving families a safe place to live, especially in this uncertain time, and to give them hope and to show them that people care about them.
Kelly Chapman, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Important resources to know about there. An innovative product and a big cash prize. Fox 13's Max Roth introduces us to the winner of Weber State University's Outdoor Business Contest.
Sawtooth makes innovative cargo management products like the world's lightest, most compact, and most aerodynamic rooftop carrier. Sawtooth also makes the world's only cargo expandable tonneau cover.
DJ Potter, founder and CEO of Sawtooth, walked away a winner of the 2020 Outdoor Weber Entrepreneurship Contest.
We have a very contrarian attitude towards cargo management at Sawtooth, and we believe that you should be able to do more and haul more with your pickup truck.
The Midway, Utah-based company manufactures products like this tonneau cargo cover that increases your truck's cargo capacity by expanding above the walls to cover anything you're hauling.
It is extremely durable. It has a very high pounds per square inch failure rate. I don't even think our competition comes close to it.
Weber State University holds the Outdoor Weber Contest every year to promote local business startups and to help students build a better future.
We're looking for those individuals who have an outdoor recreation themed idea, concept, whether it's a product, a service for a nonprofit. And we hope to give them a little bit of an edge to get their business going.
Sawtooth, which is based out of Midway, was awarded the first prize, $30,000. Dose Hydration, a Weber State student-run company, took second place, and Stag Rack from Oregon won third.
The money is great that these winners take home, but everyone who participates gets something from the mentoring. I think that's far more valuable.
The participants were all college students from around the globe, and all of them got to speak with leaders in the outdoor recreation industry to mentor them about their ideas.
You're learning how to run a business, how to get it started, and you're put on the spot.
This year's competition, being during the coronavirus outbreak, offered a unique challenge to both Weber State.
We had a meet and greet event that we held online to welcome the students to the competition. All the mentoring was moved onto Zoom online. Final presentations and then our final awards ceremony, if you will, was all moved online. So
and for the small companies, Sawtooth founder, CEO DJ Potter says this whole experience is teaching him how to do business in the future.
It's been a lot of fun to see the creativity come out of this.
We are going to look at this more as an opportunity for us to grow. We're actually going to use the winnings from this outdoor Weber competition to increase our spending on AdWords spends.
Weber State says they don't ask for anything from the businesses and they don't take any equity in the companies for that award money, but they do get a lot more back by watching young entrepreneurs grow.
If entrepreneurs and small businesses are succeeding, it benefits all of us.
Max Roth, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Still to come, he's the head of Utah's COVID-19 task force. Tonight in 3 Questions, Bob Evans finds out what's next when it comes to protecting Utahns from the virus.
And later in sports, BYU's own Kyle Van Noy speaks with media for the first time since joining the Miami Dolphins. And virtual racing Sunday from the Lone Star State. Don't miss the finish. Back in a bit. Tom Brady wasn't the only New England Patriot bolting for the Sun Belt this offseason. Brady's former teammate and BYU legend Kyle Van Noy doing likewise, though he ended up with the Dolphins. The 7-year vet obviously used to winning Super Bowls, but now goes to a team in Miami that hasn't won a playoff game since all the way back in 2000.
I'm just going to try to hopefully take a more leadership role because I'm going to be one of the more older players on this team. And I just hope I can help out the young guys, not just as football players, but as people too. I hope I can show them the right way to how to be a professional, because that's what it's all about.
This afternoon's previously scheduled NASCAR race was forced to go all virtual instead. And since it took place down in Texas, Fox color analyst and former Cowboy Troy Aikman seemed like the perfect fit to act as Grand Marshal, quoting another Texan along the way.
There was a time when I thought that this role was pretty straightforward. But I saw a fellow Texan a few years back serve as the Grand Marshal, and I learned a thing or two. So here we go. All right, all right, all right. Gentlemen, start your engine!
Hello, Matthew McConaughey. As for the iRace itself, how would you like to have that awesome setup in your house? Like the most glorified arcade game ever that you never have to put your last quarter into. Dale Earnhardt Jr. finished second last week in Miami. 6th today. Jr. pushed off the track there. And in an overtime restart, Timmy Hill proving victorious after lap 125, holding off Ryan Preece for the checkered flag. And coming up shortly on the Fox 13 Sports page, Jake Toolson talks BYU's potential run through March Madness, plus the Utah ski team was just days away from a likely national championship, and both Kalani Sitake and Gary Anderson sounding off in the absence of spring football. Guys?
Well, after the break, we'll once again look at your 7-day forecast. I want to show you, though, right at sunset, Moab, we had mostly cloudy skies overnight across southern Utah. You can still find some showers. Then you see the sun. What about for northern Utah? How long will we be hanging on to the rain? I'll let you know after the break. Let's go outside right now. As mentioned, we're hanging on to the clouds across northern Utah. A few isolated showers, those showers tapering off, but they will linger as we start the work week off, at least a possibility. Current temperatures, as you can see, from Salt Lake City all the way down through Provo, we're in the 40s, where again throughout the afternoon we found highs getting up into the mid-50s. So a step in the right direction. We're going to be seeing that warming trend. But as mentioned, for northern Utah, as we'll hang on to some upper level moisture, plus we have a second brief storm that'll brush by extreme northern Utah. Thus, if you're having a plan or an opportunity to wash your car over the next few days, for northern Utah, you might want to hold off. Now, for most of the Wasatch Front, we'll have just some brief showers, but it's a possibility, which would be just enough to dirty up the car. Central, southern, eastern Utah. After tonight, things do dry out. You see the sunshine and some nice temperatures as well. But across the state, clouds in place, low pressure system traveling just south at least in northern Arizona, where it will bring a possibility of some showers across south central into southeastern Utah. Definitely could wake up with some wet roads in Moab and traveling along I-70. Wasatch Front, again, not seeing any widespread rainfall or snow up in the mountains, but still a few isolated showers just north of Salt Lake City, traveling with just some brief showers as you go from Woods Cross up into Layton, and then a few mountain showers and flurries. But we do have a cold front on the way as we're looking at this low pressure system tracking through, ushering in drier air across southern Utah, but another storm sweeping down and hitting and clipping northern Utah as we look at the forecast, especially tomorrow night through Tuesday. Let's take a look at where the rain potentially could fall tomorrow and mountain snow showers, where as we go over the next 24 hours, not much activity central towards southeastern Utah, and most of this falling in the overnight hours. So again, maybe some brief showers come tomorrow. Once again, Monday through Tuesday, though, extreme northern Utah, you get hit where we showed you the potential, at least up some of the mountains in extreme northern Utah, at least as we look through Logan Canyon, 6 to 12 inches, maybe even a little bit more, as that threat will be there through Tuesday morning. And then we should be good to go with maybe just a brief shower early Wednesday morning. But clouds in place as we look at your hour-by-hour forecast for the Wasatch Front. Overnight temperatures not getting too cold, but we will see a dip with overnight lows dipping down into the upper 30s. So waking up tomorrow morning, if you're going to do a nice little morning walk or a jog, you should be okay. Might need an extra layer, but by the afternoon, we should be in the 50s once again. We'll call it partly sunny skies across the north, central and southern Utah. You're enjoying the sunshine, and temperatures finally warming up in the mid-50s in Cedar City, mid-60s in St. George, even 60s as you look over towards Bullfrog, upper 50s in Blanding. And along the Wasatch Front, we're getting close to where we should be for this time of year. Take a look at where afternoon highs are going in St. George. As tomorrow in the 60s, 70s on Tuesday, mid-70s on Wednesday. Now we have another cool front that'll bring a drop of temperatures as we go into Thursday, but you see for Friday, Saturday into the weekend, we're going to be looking at some nice weather. Northern Utah, it's 50s, a little chance of rain Tuesday. Wednesday, we're clearing out, and then looking Friday night through Saturday, some brief showers. But all in all, next weekend looks to be good, and temperatures about where they should be for this time of year.
The numbers indicate Utah's efforts to stop the coronavirus may be having a positive effect. But still, it's hard to know because there could be people with the virus who have no symptoms but are contagious and are spreading it. And because CDC guidelines only allow those with symptoms to be tested, the question remains, do those guidelines give us an accurate picture of the spread of the disease? That's where I started when I sat down with Lieutenant Governor Spencer Cox, head of the Utah Coronavirus Task Force, and asked him 3 questions. Is there anyone here in Utah or elsewhere who's coming up with other guidelines that can guide us toward those folks who are asymptomatic and who have not tested positive and are still contagious?
While it is true that you can pass the disease asymptomatic, the odds of it happening are actually very, very low. Most of the time, this gets passed because of droplets, and those droplets come out of our mouths onto other surfaces when we're coughing, sneezing, and we're sick. And so by testing as many people as we can who have those symptoms, and then finding out, this is the contact tracing. So testing is the first part. Contact tracing is the second part. Everyone they've been in contact with over the past few days, we test them even if they're not symptomatic to see if they have it. Then we can quarantine those people. That's how you get ahead of this disease. That's how they've done it in South Korea. That's how they've done it in China. That's how they've done it in other places, is they can't test everyone. And so when someone is exhibiting symptoms, now the good news is we should be able to start testing everyone exhibiting symptoms. Until this week, we couldn't even do that. We could only do it if you had symptoms and you had been in contact with someone, because there were just so few tests left, or you were in the hospital, something like that. So that's what's changing this week, and that is our strategy over the next month and beyond, is we test everyone who has symptoms, and then we look back and find the 50 people they've been in contact with over the last week, since just before they started exhibiting symptoms. We test them and we quarantine everyone who test positive, and we stop the spread of this disease.
The governor has said that he wants to flatten that curve that we've all been talking about, and now we are hearing that that is starting to happen. Does that mean that we are moving farther away from an everyone stay home order?
Well, we would all like to avoid that, and the only way to avoid that is if everyone is doing their part, as I mentioned earlier. If we're doing that, we may be able to avoid an everyone stay home order. And so, yes, if we can show that that curve is flattening and we're not seeing the exponential increases, that's exactly what we're looking for. Remember, we were the first state to implement a reduction in mass congregations. Nobody over 100. We were the first state to do that. We were one of the first states to suspend our schools. With the delay that comes from getting infected to seeing the results of that infection, we're just now starting to see the results of ending those mass gatherings. And so that's why you have to wait a couple weeks to find out if the decisions you made 2 weeks ago are actually working. And we're hopeful. The signs over the last couple days show that we've kind of leveled out. We're having about close to 40 to 50 people that are testing positive every day, and we're expanding our testing at the same time. So that's good news. We do expect, though, that as we significantly increase the number of tests, we are going to see an increase in positive. But those are people who were not getting tested before, and they were still getting the disease, but we just didn't know about it. So we expect an increase in those numbers, but we're hopeful that the decisions we've made will allow us to level off, not overwhelm our healthcare system, and not need much more stringent measures. But if it doesn't happen, we will have to take those more stringent measures. So please, 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 people, take this seriously.
Every day there is a state briefing, an update, and every day there is a federal briefing and update. How do you prevent information overload when we get into a situation like this?
Well, communication is always the most important part and unfortunately the most difficult of any type of crisis. Even in the best of times, communicating is very difficult, especially because we have so many ways of getting our information now, right? Social media, the cable news, everybody gets to pick and choose whatever they want to hear. And unfortunately, it usually is whatever fits their worldview, and we don't hear sometimes contrary views. So we are working very hard. What we hear mostly from people is they're really starving for data and information and accurate information. And so we want to provide that accurate information to them. I would caution people from over-consuming that information, though. It's not healthy to be engaged in the news and social media all day long. I've encouraged people, I said today, turn off social media, exercise, call a friend, take a break and pause and look at the beautiful things around us. Try to find the good in the world around us so that we don't get overwhelmed. But just know that there are trusted sources where you can go, and coronavirus.utah.gov is the best source to get information about what's happening here in the state of Utah, and we are updating it multiple times every day.
Lieutenant Governor Spencer Cox, head of the Coronavirus Task Force here in Utah, thank you so much for being part of 3 Questions.
Thank you, Bob.
This is Fox 13 News.
Finally on Fox 13, a mom from Sandy went the extra mile to make sure her son didn't miss out on his birthday during this outbreak. Chase Redmond turned 16 today, and his mother put together this special surprise drive-by parade with his friends and family. Chase even got his birthday present early. And get this, he got a Ford Mustang to call his own. Soon Chase will be out on the roads.
Yeah. That is so cool. Keep bringing these to me. I love these stories. These are great. Thanks for watching Fox 13 News at 9.
Quick Cast is coming up next, and don't go anywhere because Sports Page is still ahead.